A Louisiana court recently halted enforcement of a meat labeling law. A judge ruled it violates free speech because it prohibited plant-based meat products from using terms like burger and sausage. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law joins us once again for an update on the matter. And Roger, as always, thank you very much for your time here today. Can you give us just a bit of background on this case?
Sure, Janet. Good to be with you. In 2019, Louisiana enacted the Truth in Labeling of Food Products Act, and that took effect in the fall of 2020. And among other things, and it's got a whole laundry list of things that it does, but basically it prohibits the intentional misbranding or misrepresenting of any food product as an ag product when it's really not. If it doesn't come from a cow, if it doesn't come from a pig, don't label it as such. So it's basically a consumer deception law. We want to avoid deceiving consumers, and it came with a $500 per day per product fine. But there hadn't been any enforcement of it. The Department of Ag that was responsible for enforcing it hadn't gone after anybody, and there hadn't been any complaints. But the company involved that sued changed their labels, changed their marketing plan, and as you indicated, they sued on constitutional grounds. And the court said that they didn't use the least restrictive means to accomplish the legitimate state purpose of protecting consumers, and they should have used a disclaimer.
So, Roger, what exactly does this ruling mean for both the beef sector and the plant-based meat industry?
Well, it means that a state has to be very careful when they legislate in this area so that they don't chill commercial speech, even though commercial speech is not as protected as other forms of speech. There is a state interest, and the court said so, a legitimate state interest in preventing consumers from being deceived. You just have to do it, state legislatures, in a manner that isn't too restrictive.
So are you anticipating an appeal on behalf of the beef industry here?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. There are other cases involving similar laws that are in the process, so we'll have to see how those go.
As you mentioned, other cases, Louisiana's not alone. Do you think that this is going to set a precedent for some of these other state-by-state issues?
Well, it could be, but it is a state-by-state issue because it depends on how each state writes its own law. So how does that law that's being challenged compare to the Louisiana law that this court ruled on? But in any event, it's a big issue for agriculture. That much is for sure.
Now, of course, it's going to come back to, I'm sure, an argument as far as a patchwork of these state-by-state laws. Do we expect some sort of federal move to try and resolve the issue and blanket it?
Well, that's tough for the feds to do. It really does belong at the state level, although I do think there'll be interest in this at the federal level to try to legislate in this area. But again, if Congress does it, they're going to have to be equally careful, just like state legislatures will have to be. It is a tough issue, but it's a very important issue for the meat industry and agriculture in general.
All right, Roger, as always, thank you very much for your insight today. Roger McEowen, he's with the Washburn University School of Law. Go online to washburnlaw.edu/WALTR for more information. Again, thank you, Roger.